To begin this morning, I wanted to evoke the presence of a Bodhisattva named Thich Nhat Hanh. Um, his teachings are very near and dear to my heart. Um, I love him so much. And I find a lot of inspiration in expressions of human beingness that have sort of been through, you know, the worst of the worst in our estimation of things: genocide, exile, enslavement, that kind of thing, which he was did experience and was not a victim of, extraordinarily enough. He went on to write 100 or more books. He had a very brilliant way, still, I'm speaking as if he's passed, and he's absolutely not, a brilliant way of being able to get through to the Western mind. And he was a colleague and a peer of Martin Luther King. He was a peacemaker, an activist, but all from the ground of being. If you read Thich Nhat Hanh, his number one pointer is to smile. So this is not coming from somebody who had it all, who, this is coming from, and his sort of way showing was always, and still is, he always would say, the next Buddha will be a global Sangha. The next Buddha will be a global Sangha. So not like a sage on a stage, but, humanity awakened. His ground was the peacefulness that exists through all circumstances, the peacefulness and joy. And I'm going to come back to that, but also what's also coming in is, I don't know if any of you have read the book, The Wisdom of Joy, with the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. Exiled, genocide, the whole enslaved, the whole thing. And the Dalai Lama says in there, when he's specifically asked about being from Reverend Desmond, well, what does that feel like to be completely exiled from the people you love, the country you love, basically, a price on your head? He smiles instantly. It's not an affectation. He smiles and he said, well, it's just been the greatest opportunity. It's been the greatest opportunity. These are ordinary human beings who have chosen a path other than looking at reality and saying, hey, hi, how are you? What can you do for me? Thich Nhat Hanh, walk like a free person. Put down, don't carry anything, and feel light. There is a burden we all carry with us. The skill we need is how to lay down our burden in order to be light. He's not denying or dismissing or standing in an uncompassionate response to the horrors of the world. This man's entire family was murdered. His villages, He stood for peace and they kicked him out. Some others. Oh. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. The present moment is joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. He wrote a book, an entire book called Anger. And these are his quotes. No opposition, no division within himself. No opposition, no division. Empty. Empty of all of that. A free person. Any action in our daily life, including walking, eating, brushing our teeth, or doing the dishes, can become joyful, relaxed, and meaningful. Being present is the revolutionary approach that brings peace, clarity, and insight. He had a heart of gold. He has a heart of gold. Can you feel it here in this room? You can feel him, right? After his continuation, it was so much more palpable here than even when he was in a human body. It was like, whoa. He's right here, which he said he would be. Look for me in the leaf, in the flower, in the tree. I'm never far, I'm never distant. Walk like a free person. Put down, don't carry anything and feel light. There's a burden we always carry with us. The skill we need is how to lay down our burden in order to be light. Not deny, not be repressive, suppressive, all of the defensive, wounded, all the stuff we've learned, that's how we meet the deepest sorrows generally, which is innocent but ineffective. Because it continues a layer of separation between us and the deepest sorrows. A layer of defensiveness, woundedness, whatever it is, then that becomes what we're orbiting around rather than facing directly from here or from the bottoms of your feet. Walk like a free person. What's actually happening? And I understand so deeply the just from personal experience, being a human in this culture, the tendency to move, how do I want to say this? From that cycle, from that process of belief, thought, emotion, belief, thought, emotion, conceptual referencing, and all of that to meet our everyday experience and what we carry. But it doesn't, it's not an avenue to transmutation. It's not an avenue of transmutation. It's not a failure. It's not anything we're doing wrongly. It just isn't what he's pointing to. The Dalai Lama, what did that feel like? How was that for you? You had to leave in the middle of the night, small child, 1959, murderers at your back, slaying your entire country, culture, the whole thing, rape, murder, pillage, genocide. It's been the greatest opportunity. I mean, watch the video. It's astounding. It's responsive immediacy from something other than the ego process, which can only ever react. It can only ever react. It's not a failure. We're not doing anything wrongly. It just, that's all it's got. That's all it's got. It's not actually truly, well, it's just not at all rooted in presence that is. Presence that is. That which is never coming and going. It's not going, it's not coming, it's not created, it's not manufactured, generated. It's spontaneous, always, already. Boom. I am that I am. And now I will walk like a free person, come what may. And things do come because, who knows what we've got in the closet. Hey. I need a Kleenex. I mean, all this, everything we haven't seen and returned to love. One way that I kind of had a sort of a way of expressing this process, it may not sit with you at all, but it really kind of it expressed how it works here. A way of looking at conditioning and fixation and change and grievances and wounds. It's like a long queue of all the events and memories, woundedness, and what they did to me are all lined up in the waiting room of consciousness. And they are all hoping for liberation. They are all hoping they get to go, like all phenomena naturally does. Go. It comes and then it goes. So they are standing in this line and they move through consciousness, and the ego process is sitting at the desk. Remember, this is direct experience. I'm not preaching at you. This is direct experience. The ego process is sitting at the clerk's desk. And as they approach the desk with their paperwork, their visas, and ask if they can finally go, can I go? And the ego either says, yeah, okay, I don't need you anymore. And here's your ticket to freedom. Or it says, nope, I'm still using you to build my story, my defense. You're going to have to stick around. And then, through spiritual devotion, practice, remembering the true self, becoming more and more and more and more deeply rooted in what is, more and more of the phenomena standing in line to receive their freedom get to leave. They are naturally liberated in that fire. So the line gets thinner. There begins to be room for newness, freshness and creativity. Get up to the desk and say, have a look at this. What do you think? And there's actually space. The ego might consider it. And the clerk, the ego process, starts not showing up for work. Sometimes not even there. Can't find the office. And the conditioning frees itself of its own accord, runs on past the desk and out the door. And the creativity, the freshness, the discovery has room and space to germinate and grow. We're so hard on ourselves. And then we start orbiting around that. So what I really hope you can hear is how humbly honored I am to sit in a group that is willing to let go. I'm deeply, deeply honored and appreciative, because it is a mighty, mighty, mighty prayer to have an impulse for awakened consciousness. That impulse will literally deconstruct every expectation and agenda you have around reality. And I'm not trying to paint a picture where it has to be a really rough ride and then people can start orbiting around that. I don't know what kind of ride it will be, but it will be a deconstruction rather than an achievement, an award, or a possessing of more stuff, more thises, more that's. It will be an emptying. An emptying. And it will bring you into life as it is. And the heart will come online. It will come online. And we haven't practiced very much there because of all this conceptual referencing, fixing, solving, victimizing. And it will be unconditional. So whatever's in that queue will come front and center. And we won't control that. There won't be a controller at the desk. The soul will be, thank you, here I am. And the mighty, mighty ego, it's done such a great job. Forgets to come, forgets to show up, can't be found. Some of you may have had this experience. You reach for something that was a conditioned, fixated reaction, absolutely not available. No longer available. It's fire, man. It's fire. So that showing up, that impulse of being here in this room. It's a prayer that precipitates a deconstruction of the dream state and of all the illusions that are covering up the already awareness that is. So we have to, it's useful to come with as light of, as free of expectation and agenda as we can be. But it's going to pop up. 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 What an opportunity! What an opportunity. And it's interesting because it starts feeling like that, unmanufactured, you know? It's a response that is, you know, the personality might still be there going, this is a freaking drag. And yet there's all this capacity to like meet it. That's not coming from the personality. The whole system becomes energized with this like one-pointed, Dr. Hawkins used to say, straight and narrow. I mean, it's a vast, expansive recognition, but it is it's a path of unbecoming, undeceiving, letting go of control, living face to face with uncertainty, no turning away from ourselves with distractions of shoulds, defenses, entitlements, victimhood. And with the turning loose of all that, we gain great capacity and we are able to authentically live. It brings one into authenticity. So it's not that these great bodhisattvas are saying this present moment is essentially and fundamentally joy if you're attentive to it, and you will never have another problem again. They're not saying that. None of them have said that. I mean, there's some cults of bliss on the internet and everything, you know, raise your kundalini and you'll be a god, or whatever it is. But these great masters have never said that. They've all just been in service naturally, as is. Because it serves itself unconditionally. It loves itself unconditionally and becomes more and more and more and more and more consciously present and available. Freshness, newness, creativeness. We can all, regardless of what we are still believing, right? Even if we're still having a moment of deep separation and inner dividedness, war, we can all agree and see that at the heart of existence is creation. At the heart of existence is creation. It's creativity itself. So that hollow reed comes to mind. I was first introduced to that vision, I guess, of living from a teacher in Thailand named Mama Lek Chaya. He was a very revered healer all over that country, the kind that people walk in and they can't walk, and that's not her vision about it, so then they leave walking. You're going, what? And if the ego process, which, I mean, I could tell a funny story if that's at all interesting. I was some of you have heard it, at a workshop in California. Janice, who's part of this sangha, isn't with us today, but some of you know Janice. She's the lineage Dharma heir of Mama Lek. She has a school in California. And we were there, we were with Mama Lek, and Mama Lek was having us strum the nerve that is right up in the perineum. She was big on strumming nerves. So she was, you had to love it or not. And I'm like working on this guy, this man, a house painter from Nevada City, California. And I'm going, I don't think that we do that in the Western world. Like, I'm not sure that's that's something we do where I just, coming in, gonna strum that, it just, and she saw it. She saw it because he had been having a lot of trouble with a lot of nerve pain in his legs and all this. She saw it from across the room. There were like 30 people in that room, and she came over and she looked at me and she said, "For the medicine." Get out of the way. I looked at him and he's like, "Don't worry, I haven't felt anything down there for years." Thank you. I can't remember his name, but Hollow Reed. Responsive immediacy. Can be really scary to the conditioned way of being. Can seem very, man, I am not going in there. But remember Jayashree's beautiful pointer. The heart is a door. And the capacity that we have a beautiful human heart. The human heart is beautiful. It's a wild ride. But it has, in contrast to some of the stages and phases of awakened consciousness, what Tibetans call the one taste, what Jesus called the desert. The wild ride of the human heart is kind of nice in a certain sense. If any of you have ever, anyway. But I'm speaking of the heart of being. I could say the Divine Mother. Sometimes it's not popular. People have mommy issues. Me too. She who is the heart, the mother of creation, the generative cauldron. I just got immersed in that. Is the love that Trish was speaking of flashing into her consciousness during yoga, uncaused. It's not causal, it's not relational, it's not an open, close, come and go. It's not of that dimension. It's not like we have to completely give up our human heartfulness, although it's kind of like the mind. It's kind of like the mind emotion thing. It becomes more and more informed and clear. Let's say, as it begins to be permeated with this love that has no reason. It's not something, as he says, we carry. We don't carry it. We don't have it. We don't give it. We can only ever be that. Just like water and wetness, fire and heat, sunshine and illumination. The sun doesn't illuminate itself, it is illumination. Water doesn't wet itself, it is water. We are unconditional love, and the only way to really come into it is to clear the way. Let the queue come on by. Come on through, guys. It's free pass day. And to just tune in to the gift and the grace of life, you know. So, say something deeply wounding, traumatic, grievous is making its way through. Well, first of all, we have to be willing to actually see it for what it is, you know, as it is, just kind of raw, without really describing it with the history, but just the rawness of grief, the rawness of rage, the rawness of abandonment, perceived abandonment, and all the rest, all the deep betrayals. We've all had them, you know. It's the Buddhist parable where the person comes to the Buddha and says, whatever his litany, you know, let's say it's Thich Nhat Hanh. My family was murdered. My village was burned. I was exiled from my country, you know, whatever. And the Buddha says, okay, here's what I want. And the man has a sincere wish to move forward from all of it. We might in the West say heal, but awaken up and out of it. And so the Buddha hands him an empty bowl and says, I don't want you to eat until you can fill this bowl from a house that's had no tragedy. And he comes back, an empty bowl. Because here we are, all together, us. So we're able to see it and just remain, abide the sensation. This is the beauty of actual embodiment, but with a capacity to get past the fight or flight in whatever, I'm not going to go into all the ways and means today, but hit me up for a personal session. Let's talk. And something beyond the mind, the conceptual mind and the ego process answers that in a way that is unexplainable. It's a grace, it's a transmutation that's beyond what we can do. It unfolds into, well, find out. It's met with emptiness, nobody at the desk, hollow reed, and yet absolutely present. I am that I am. And that's it. That's all we know. It's all that can enter there in that beauty. So it's always a trick, always, to speak about any of this, because there is a process within the conceptual mind that can run with this and judge it as, well, it's all good. All is well means everything's fine, there are no problems, Jen said to just get on with it. Hey, 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 hey. It's actually kind of disorienting when there has been nobody at the desk for a long time. A long time at this point. That the depth of pain of the human condition and the belief in separation and the inner division that still can be experienced. Because it's collectively being dreamed into existence all day, every day. And if there's a hollowness, an emptiness, the usefulness of a pot is its emptiness. It will be filled, guaranteed. Love this. Byron Katie. Love what is. I love reality. Do you? She says. Not Byron Katie sort of way. It's like, woo. I love her. She's as direct as they come. I'll just end with, I'm not going to. It's good. It's good. Maybe later. I know. Let's just read Thich Nhat Hanh's missive one more time. So he promised he would be here. Here he is. Let's just feel that for a minute. The heart of a true bodhisattva, in deep and total and complete service to all being. Walk like a free person. Put down. Don't carry anything and feel light. There is a burden we always carry with us. The skill we need is how to lay down our burden in order to be the light. May it serve all being. Thank you. I believe it's a break.